billion in 2019, $2.84 billion in 2020, and $1.37 billion in 2021, and $1.05 billion in 2022. This is set to increase in 2024 following the move of some foreign drug companies to focus on importation this year. In August 2023, GlaxoSmithKline Consumer Nigeria plc announced plans to shut down its operation in the country. Also in November 2023, Sanofi, a French pharmaceutical multinational, also announced plans to exit. Both will adopt a third-party distribution model in the country. Following this development, the cost of drugs has surged above 100%. According to SBM Intelligence, Nigeria's climbing inflation and foreign exchange crisis, pharmaceutical industry are also under strain. Nigeria imports 70% of medicines used in the nation. Hence, the federal government is partnering with the government of Cuba to reduce the importation by 20% in a few years. On the program today, we'll take a look at drug importation in Nigeria. Jongonowa will start by looking at the currency, commodity, and equity markets. Stay tuned. Welcome back from that break. We're going to start by looking at the equity market, and we're starting with the highest trades. The highest trade, we have Bua Cement with 177 trades at the volume of 554,670,000 at the value of 99,240,000. We have Transco with 120 trades at the volume of 1,150,000 at the value of 19,701,000. We have Japan Gold with 111 trades at the volume of 21,220,000 at the value of 57,979,000. We'll take a look at the top gainers, and we have WAPIC at positive 10%. We have Bua Cement at positive 9.98%. We have Japan Gold also at positive 9.91%. We have the bottom losers on the list. Of the bottom losers, we have NEM at negative 10%. We have Cadbury at negative 9.96%. We have TIP at negative 9.92%. Let's take a look at the commodity market now, and our top performers in the commodity market, we have EEX, Strom Felix Base Lodia at positive 4.86%. We have we have natural gas as Henry Hub at 3.69%. We have sugar at 3.08%, zinc at 2.79%, and cocoa at 1.99%. Let's take a look at other commodities. Precious metals, we have gold topping the list at positive 0.02%. We have platinum at negative 0.50%. Let's take a look at another commodity. We have energy. We have natural gas, that's Henry Hub at negative 12.85%. We have ethanol at 0.05%, and we have heating oil at positive 1.12%. Let's take a look at another commodity. We have industrial metals. Aluminium tops that list at negative 1.04%. We have lead at 5.28%. We have iron ore at 0.01%. Let's take a look at our last commodity for today. We have agriculture topping the list for agriculture. We have cotton at negative 0.04%. We have oats at 1.09%. We have lumber at negative 1.05%. For the currency market, the forex turnover dropped by 3.18% to $56.60 as the Nigerian naira tumbled against the dollar marginally on Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. In both the official and the unofficial markets, the domestic currency depreciated by 0.41% to close at 882 naira 0.24 to a dollar at the close of business, where the naira is sold officially, and at the parallel market the naira sold at 1,365 naira to a dollar. That represents a 0.37% decrease as it closed as against what it closed the previous day. Just stay with us. We'll come back for the interview segment. Don't go nowhere.
Hello there! Worried about complexities and dynamics of business in Nigeria? On Business Focus, we bring you insight from the forefront of industry innovation, business news, latest figures from the stock market with in-depth analysis and even market survey. Let's journey through the ever-evolving world of business and economics, where we decode the latest market moves and provide you with the knowledge to navigate the intricate web of business challenges. This is Business Focus. Hello there. Worried about...
Welcome back from the break. You are on to Business Focus on Politics and Business TV, and we're going to look at drug importation in Nigeria. And to discuss this, I have a fellow of Chartered Accounting and also the Tax Institute of Nigeria by name Mr. Wale Joshua. Good morning, Mr. Wale Joshua. Welcome to Business Focus.
Good morning.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
So we're going to start with the naira. The naira depreciates and appreciates, and it's like it's affecting everything going on in the country. Is there any other sector it's not affecting?
Quite unfortunate, the supplies of drug has to affect the lives of ordinary citizens, the lives of the Nigerian citizens, because we are talking about health sector in this particular scenario. So the valuation of Nigerian naira, reduction in value of Nigerian naira has affected a lot of things, and that cuts across board, which has to do with the power itself, the powering of the company itself. The cost of diesel has gone up, and thank God for the subsidy on electricity for now from the government. The cost of a unit electricity cost is equally high. So we have everything going up, and we have nothing coming down except for our tolerance level. So we are not better off. We are not better off it. But in this case, we have to survive. And when things happens like this, we have ways of tackling it. One, we have the insurance. Two, we have avoiding it. And three, we have shifting it. We have shifting that particular measures. Insurance, health insurance in Nigeria, how are we faring? What is government doing to improve trust in health insurance business? That's number one. What are the citizens doing to make sure that they avoid sickness? are we living healthily? Are we doing what we need to do to keep ourselves healthy? Are we eating what we need to eat to keep ourselves healthy? Nigeria has gotten to a point where our food has to be turned to drugs so that we survive this particular scenario. One thing I know that will definitely happen is that over the time, Nigerian income will rise. Inflation, that is if the inflation is not consistent. If the rise in inflation is not consistent, either our income will rise to meet this inflation, or the inflation will come back to meet our income. So we are expecting either of the ways through the economic management system of the government.
You're not talking about insurance. For Nigerians, for a lot of Nigerians, the insurance works with the people working for government. That's the public servants or the civil servants, if you may. The insurance covers mostly just them, and they do not make up a whole chunk of the nation's population. So insurance in Nigeria, would you say it's for all?
Insurance working as expected. Reason being that there are a lot of mistrusts between the government, who happens to be the regulator on one side, and the managers of the health insurance scheme itself. Then we have issues with what we call corruption. I believe corruption has eaten deep into what we call health insurance. Okay. So we need to be more transparent in managing our health insurance scheme, and the government needs to come up with a good regulatory framework. Apart from a good regulatory framework, they need to come up with a good audit process and procedure to what we call the health insurance scheme. Because when you have your health insurance scheme, the situation where they yank off some particular ailment as not covered by health insurance scheme is really worrisome. Apart from that, the situation when you get to the healthcare providers and they tell you health insurance scheme, it becomes a challenge. But when they look at your face, they know that if you allow this particular sick person to report you get issues from they provide the top-notch health scheme itself. So we may be looking at privately managed insurance scheme to approach our health challenges, to approach these increasing costs of meeting our health care needs. When we're talking about insurance, the best way to tackle the Nigerian health challenges is insurance. Is introduction of insurance policy. When the subscribers can contribute much enough, they can't all be down with ailments at the same time.
Sure.
But within the year, they can cater for, let's say, 20 or 10% of those who are down with ailments, while the 80% will always go for scheduled checkup to prevent whatever challenge they can meet. The functioning of health insurance in Nigeria has to do with a lot of things. It goes into the economy, it goes into the well-being of the country, it goes into the quality of life. So if we can get it right on our health insurance scheme, we will get it right in many other sectors of life, because it will increase our life expectancy. And when our life expectancy is increased, we have much productive youths, more productive citizens on board. Sure. On Nigerian business. Sure. So that's critical of it. So apart from that, government may need to look into subsidizing healthcare, subsidizing pharmaceutical products. That's at the point of entry. Let's know what is coming in. Let's know what we are going to subsidize. Apart from that, we need to manufacture locally. As most of these companies are exiting Nigeria, who are the managers, who are the management, who are the technocrats taking over these countries, these companies? If they are well taken over by the locals, I believe that we'll be better off it, and we have local content to supply to the to the Nigerian populace and possibly to the world. So we should be looking at that. Then Nigeria should be looking at domesticating patent rights, because most of these drugs, they come with patent rights, they come with trademarks, they come with some kind of restrictive issues that increase the price of this drug. So if we can have agreement with most of them, that's what we should be looking at, discussing with the world economic at events like World Economic Forum, at events like a bilateral meetings, at events like multilateral meetings. Let's meet the managers, let's meet the management of these big companies. How do we partner with them? Sell the franchise to us, let us manufacture locally, while government facilitates the citizens to manufacturing these drugs. If you are manufacturing these drugs, you know that you are manufacturing based on Nigerian naira, and will reduce the pressure on exchange rates, which will increase the cost of the drugs. You will agree with me that many other things have followed the increase in the reduction in the value of naira. Part of which is the Nigerian debt itself, because our debt is dollar based, is narrated in dollars, and if it's narrated in dollar, the more our naira devalues, the more this debt will go up in Nigerian naira value, not in the dollar value. You may be surprised, or you may not be surprised, having the cost of this drug at a constant foreign currency rate rather than naira value. So the effect of the reducing value of naira is taking toll on many other things, many things in Nigeria, part of which is the health, the challenges of meeting our health needs. So if we are having challenges in meeting our health needs, we may need to look forward to the government in subsidizing some products.
Mr. Joshua, while talking, you mentioned multinationals leaving the country. Apart from a lot of Nigerians losing their job, what has that affected, or what has been the effect of that on our healthcare?
Well, the effect is really biting hard on us, because some product line has been stopped. And the fact that some product line has been stopped means that we have to import, because we are not manufacturing most of these drugs in Nigeria. The little ones to a halt, that means you have to import. Apart from importation, that means you have to hand it over to maybe the investors, favorable investors in this company. You have to sell the assets, you have to sell the liabilities, and you have to transfer ownership to another manager, to another set of crop of manager. Before they take over, it will take a little gap, a little time before they master the business and they start producing well. Most of when these companies wind down, most of their expatriates, they take leave from Nigeria, because they may not want to stay back to weather the storm with the Nigerian managers. And at that point, the Nigerian managers, the new management will have no choice than to look within the international market and within the local market to get the technocrat that will take over these companies. It's really taking tolls on Nigeria, but we can see opportunity in this by trying to create a local content for ourselves. I mean, trying to create a good situation out of a bad one.
Would you not say that in this particular situation that there would be the possibility of a lot of counterfeit drugs and healthcare products?
Definitely there will be. Definitely there will be.
How should we move on to curb that?
Well, I believe that the federal government, or the government of Nigeria, is doing well in terms of standard management in terms of visiting this company looking at what they produce. And one of the agencies that are saddled with this responsibility is NAFDAC. I believe that NAFDAC is doing well and doing good. Of recent, NAFDAC went to raid some illegal production factories down there in Nigeria, and it's really yielding much effort. But we need to look more into this, because most people will start shady work, and the drugs and pharmaceutical products called by one country's name will be in circulation. In trying to mop this up, regulators in government business should look into going to these pharmaceutical stocks, not only pharmaceutical supply chains, not only pharmaceutical warehouse, but this pharmaceutical stock, because they are the channels where most of these drugs or most of these products will be circulated. And we should not look into within the cities alone, because by experience and by practice, I know that most counterfeit drugs and counterfeit products are sold in the hinterland. They are sold in the villages, where the issues of quality control, where the issue of quality identification, and where the issue of package identification may be difficult to really spot, because you and I may know how to use barcode, but down there in the village, down there in most of our local organizations, we may not know how to check this barcode, whether the QR code or the barcode itself. It may be challenging for locals to identify those things. It may be challenging for locals to identify most of these drugs. So we may look inward. We may look deep down into our network of supplies, and we should look into the nodes, not into the upper part of the supply chain. We should look at the unit supplies, so that we check the standards from around that place, from around that supplies chain. So we may be looking at standard controls in Nigeria.
That's quite an insight. Viewers, you're still on Business Focus on Politics and Business TV, and Mr. Joshua was just telling us how it should be a way to curb counterfeit drugs in Nigeria. We'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. Do stay with us.
Hello there. Worried about complexities and dynamics of business in Nigeria? On Business Focus, we bring you insights from the forefront of industry innovation, business news, latest figures from the stock market with in-depth analysis and in the market survey. Let's journey through the ever-evolving world of business and economics, where we decode the latest market moves and provide you with the knowledge to navigate the intricate web of business challenges. This is Business Focus.
Welcome back from the break. You are still watching Business Focus on Politics and Business TV. We are talking about drug importation in Nigeria. Mr. Joshua, the NAFDAC chief, that's Professor Mojishola Adeyeye, she mentioned in 2021 that there is a move to reduce importation of drugs from 70% to 30% by 2025. That's by increasing local production. How far is Nigeria going? Are we on that track of increasing our local production of the drugs, or are we not?
Currently, Nigeria is not on that track, or maybe we are on the lower of that chart. reason why I said that is that we can't be on progress in as regarding that policy if ease of doing business is not really taken care of. If the importation of if Nigeria still depends on importation, and if we don't look inward to deliberately instigate investors within this circle, what I mean is that if we don't work on our ease of doing business, whether pharmaceutical, whether non-pharmaceutical, it depends on the business environment. We need to tidy up our business environment, part of which I know that the government is reforming, and part of which I know that the government is really working hard on. That's number one. Number two is the being deliberate. How many leaders of thought have we called together to let them realize why they should produce locally rather than import? Why is it good to produce within Nigeria than importing from abroad, which is a easier way out of making up their balance sheets. So we have to be deliberate. We have to call stakeholders meeting. We have to let them know why they should produce in Nigeria. Not only stakeholders meeting, we have one thing we call the technocrats. The technocrats should be brought in. Those are the people that really studied what it takes to produce drugs, what it takes to service the plants, production plants in drug manufacturing chain. Then we need to call in the investors. How do we call in the investors? We need to go into capital market. We need to go into resource pool. We need to go into getting people to contribute into manufacturing chain, part of which is this insurance company. When United Kingdom saw that their insurance policy is being overloaded, they went into their immigration policy to adjust one thing or the other there, and at least they are within the budgeted scope now. So government needs to look beyond the pharmaceutical industry itself, pharmaceutical plant itself. They need to look into many other chains surrounding effects on the pharmaceutical manufacturing plant and pharmaceutical manufacturing process, to making sure that they are well fine-tuned and they are directed to achieving their objectives, part of which is capital, part of which is people, part of which is government policy. We saw this when CBN went into instigating people to farm rice, and we saw the effects. What is the government working towards so that it will instigate people to manufacture drugs? If you are going to, can we use part of the savings on our insurance policy to do this, to achieve this, rather than letting the investors that, okay, fine, you cannot spend everything out of your retained earnings, you cannot spend everything out of your profits, set aside this portion to making sure that you set up a manufacturing plant. Even if it's not by yourself, an investor is coming, a technocrat is coming that will use this money to manufacture. So we need a policy direction in that way. I have not seen this. I have not seen the National Assembly seeing the Nigerian custom placing excise duty on what we can produce in Nigeria, and making sure that we allow the local industry, local manufacturing industries to do their work, rather than importing from foreign countries that will put pressure on what they are producing, while still being conscious of the prices of goods. What I'm looking forward to see in Nigeria is a kind of regulated price. If we don't get this price regulated, whether by advisory means or by control, by forcefully controlling people to seal their price at a particular level, we may not really get some things right in Nigeria. If you are sealing, we are definitely capping the profits, but we are telling them that they have a responsibility to the Nigerian citizen rather than a responsibility to their pockets.
Okay. The NAFDAC chairman mentioned the more local production of the drugs. What about ingredient sourcing? Because we source a lot of the ingredients for the manufacturing of drugs from outside the country, and we have a lot of locally produced ingredients that we could incorporate in some of the drugs.
Well, when I was discussing your last question, I said that the value chain should be looked into. If you can look at the value chain is not only the manufacturing plant itself. It has to do with the supplies. How do we get the supplies? Most of which are chemicals, most of which are agricultural products.
Sure.
How do we get this refined? How do we get it refined in Nigeria? Apart from refining it in Nigeria, how do we make sure that we export it? Most of these products, they may be needed in just small quantity. The small quantity may not be economical to be consumed within the Nigerian economy alone. So we may look at supplying most of African countries so that we can keep the businesses in operation. If we are going to do that, we need the government's bilateral agreement. We need the agreement between Nigeria through their embassies with other countries. If we can do this, I believe that we will be better off it. We have many materials which can be produced in Nigeria, but we depend on the foreign products because the finishing is really good. Apart from the finishing being really good, the standards are really within the Nigerian market, and which we may need to come in to plug the loopholes. We can come in through the Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria. We can come in through the Ministry of Health. We can come in through the associations themselves to make sure that finishing is really top notch in selling products in Nigeria. Apart from we should not be allowed to go above a certain point or go below certain points. This has to do with electricity. How do we make sure that electricity is constant in at this manufacturing hub? Maybe government may need to look at creating a manufacturing hub where lights may not go off there, where they have their own electrical plants supplying electricity there, and it will not go off. When there is maintenance, well, the government that we are sure of constant supply of light, we are sure of constant supplies of buyers, we are sure of constant supplies of maybe of these products, so that they will not look at challenges in their own node alone. If a company is looking at challenges within their locality alone, it may be cumbersome